guys and girls, welcome back to the channel. I hope you can see me alright. I've just been at the shops. I was contemplating going fishing today, but my main priority was to go and get some bait. I was going to go spinning because I haven't got enough fresh bait to do a beach fishing. I had a few scraps, but it wasn't worth it travelling all that way if you ain't got decent bait and enough bait. Nothing worse than running out. So yeah, I've just been down at the shops. Bought some lovely squid, herring and sardines. You just get 3 packs for a tenner for the squid. The lovely big squid, these are the whole squid. They've been cleaned and prepped and everything for you. They've got all the heads in there. So I won't be using these today. I'll take a couple of these frozen with me. But I'll just be making a few wraps up today. And I'll put these back in the freezer in a minute. Well, I've just got three of the squid in here, and I just put it in cold water. I want it just enough so I can start to split the squid. You want a really sharp filleting knife, one that bends and flex. And I just want to open that up, and there's the head. I'll just put that in the cold water for a minute to defrost a little bit more. But I don't want to totally defrost it, you know what I mean, I want it semi-defrosted. Because I want to put these straight back in the freezer. People say, oh, does it make any difference? No, not. As long as it's not kept out in the sun, it's not out for hours on end, it's fine. I've never had any issues, never had any problems. So yeah, I'm just getting the squid. You just gently cut. Just fold it open. Just take the head and tentacles and all the rest of it out. You've got to be a bit careful because it does rip. This one's still a bit frozen. If you're not careful, it will rip. And I will say, if anyone's a bit squeamish, anyone doesn't want to see any filleting or anything like that, you know, all the flakes and all the rest of it, just turn away now, because I've got some lovely fresh whole herring here and I will be filleting in it. So if you don't want to watch, go to turn over. Basically, I'm not forcing anyone to watch. So to get the fillet, I'm just going to take off the tail. Just going to go under the fin at a 45-degree angle towards the head. I mean, these are so soft, I don't really bother taking out the guts when I fillet in, because I've done loads of this and I can get the fillet off. And then what you want to do is you want to run the knife down the backbone. You can almost feel the backbone. You just want to be on one side of it. Go for a quick. And you'll hear it. You'll visually hear it click, 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 click as you tip of the knife, like that. And just, you want to be doing, you don't want to be short strokes. You want to be doing little strokes, long strokes. Go down. Just let the knife do the work. You want a really sharp knife. Now you could turn it over and do the same. But I say the herring's so soft, what I normally do is, you find the backbone, you can, especially if you work from the tail end, you can get the knife under the backbone, and you just, very very gently with your fingers, prise the backbone up. Now if you hold your hand flat, I'm trying to do it this way so you can see, just put your finger there, and just ease it, you pull all that out. And it's done. That's the whole backbone. Just get rid of any insides. And there you have it. 2 nice fillets. Now I don't want, you know, this is going to be a bit too big, so I will cut these up in half. I'll keep these the belly flat, because I keep them, I use them for tipping with and that. This is going to go at a 45 degree. You want sort of a nice wrap size. You want that as well, with the same as your squid. So same similar size. Now what you're going to need when you're doing these to make things a lot easier is, well, obviously you're going to need your bait thread, and one thing I do highly recommend is have that triple bagged, because you're wrapping it all day long. This just stinks absolutely to the high heavens, ammonia. That's one thing that's just absolutely honks, and you don't want that in your bag in your house. And just wear, when you're doing this job, not your best clothes obviously. And you want some baiting needles. You got your long thin baiting needle if you're doing worms. You use your lugworm, black lugs, ragworms. This is a little simple one I made myself. When I first started, didn't shell out, just made something, thin bit of metal, just bent around. Or this one, just got 2 prongs, and what you want to do, one prong is, I'll try and get this, if you run it under, the way I do it, it's just, you see it, try and run it right under the skin. You don't want it in the flesh, well, you do want it in the flesh, but you just want to run it right under the skin. That way it's going to give maximum support when you come to wrap it. Try and keep it inside, all the way down. And I'll do the same with the squid. But this one you can go through the middle. It's a lot easier. Just can be a bit tricky, but same with the squid. Don't force it, just let the needle do the work. Just gently ease it down. Keep easing it down, and then what will you do? What I like to do anyway. Some people have the flesh side up like that. I find when you bind it, you lose a lot. And some people say, oh, it oozes more, but I like it skin side down. The smell and the oils will still come out of that when you cast in, and with it being bound on, you'll still get all the oils coming out, and it'll just protect it a little bit longer. And it's just a case of wrapping it. But these days I don't over wrap this. I like to start with the squid, so the squid sort of folds itself around. At first it's just literally go around, don't put any pressure on it, because you'll just tear the soft herring or mackerel or whatever you're using. Just literally go around, no pressure at all. Try and push that as far as, try and get that on the baiting needle as much as you can. Just keep going around and around, not putting any pressure on it. Bending it over slightly. Because the way I feel is, I have all these done, I backpack them up, I can get one out at a time, but then you've got to put your hooks on it, and then you've got to obviously bait band it around your hook so it's not flying up on the cast. So as long as for me, I'm going to just do a 1/2 inch. Tie it off. Don't pull it tight with the thing, because it will slice into the fish and cut it in half. And then just pull out, and that's it. And then obviously what I do, the bottom hook I'll go through the squid, and the pedal hook through the tail. You can either push it out opposite direction or the same way, but then you will be rebinding it again, so I'm not going to over bind that at the minute. That's just nicely held in place. It's not squashing it, it's not ripping it, and that's just a case of that. And I'll do the same with some sardines, but some of these I'm just going to leave whole. I will put out, just hook them whole and band them. Some of these smaller ones I'll just be doing, I'll do one now and then I'll show you. I'm just going to be literally, we're using a hole. There's a nice small bait. They're really soft, they're really oily. Just take the head and tail off. which is going to go straight through, straight down the middle if you can. And exactly the same. The squid just acts as somewhere to get your hook in. If that squid's a little bit long, I'll just trim it off. The squid just acts somewhere to get your hook into. It'll firm up a bit as well, because this is a soft bait, and if there are any crabs around, they'll peck away at it, and you'll just come back with a skeleton on there. So, this could be a really good bait for smooth hounds and rays. Again, I'm not going to pull down too hard, and I'm not going to over tighten it. I'm just going to, I don't know, 20, 30, 20 turns. Just make sure it's all done at the end. Yeah, I was going to toy him with going bass fishing today, but it's the King's coronation. We have not had a coronation for 70 years, and yeah, it's something to celebrate. And by the sounds of it, I've been listening on the radio, it looks like it's going to be all out ceremony, so you might as well watch it and enjoy the occasion. So I'm just being out while I was getting some fishing out. Got some nice steaks. I'm going to do some nice fillet steaks and a nice lunch for me, myself and my daughter, and dessert and that. And that's basically it. And I'll just be making a load of these up. As I say, I'll be putting them in packs of 3. I'll vat pack them up. I've got a vat pack machine, and they're just ready to go. So I hope you enjoyed the tips. I'll do another one as well. With the heads, these are still frozen, but I don't mind. I can work with it. Again, I'm just going to do a herring and squid. Start off at the thick end. We'll get the right one. Just going to push that under. Try and get it so you can see the needle just under the skin. When you cast in, it's not, if you have the needle just running under the flesh here, when you cast, the force of it, even though it's bound on, it's going to start to rip it a bit. This gives it a lot more protection. And then when you're doing it, try and get the same, like the thin end of the squid to the thin end, and the thick end of the squid to the thick end. So it's all going to be nicely covered. Again, just run that needle down the middle of the squid. I mean, what you could do, which I've done before, is if you got all the bits and that, and I've got some crab meat and some ground bait, some fish oils, make up a really thick chum, rubby-dubby, whatever you want to call it. And then if you got these are too big, but when you get the smaller ones, I just stuff all the crab meat and the chum inside, put the head on, and that's a really good bait for cod and rays and things like that. The whole squid, and it's got all that bait inside, just releasing all that scent. So once that's done, what I try to do is just put the head at the top, and then we'll get your bait thread. A little bit tricky this. Get your bait thread. Try and put it between the two. It's still a bit firm, this one. Still a bit frozen. So let's cut that again, quite big. That's it. And just keep binding down, keep binding down. As I said before, don't go crazy tight, you'll just end up tearing it. Just gentle pressure, just follow it around, keep following it around. If you get to the head, you can really go tight. Try and cinch that down a bit. You can if you wanted to, but a bit more protection is get it, go through the tentacles, go around, bring it over, through the tentacle, go around the opposite direction. So you're binding it in, go around a couple of times, go through, down the middle of the mouth. So it's just holding it in. Go the opposite direction, and that should be plenty. As I say, the time you get your hook on and all the rest of it, and then you're going to rebind it with bacon hooks. So you've got a nice squid and herring bait there with the head. Again, I'll just put the bottom hook through, panel hook through thin end, and you've got a nice wrap ready to go. I'll give you a quick tip. Once you're finished with everything, I just get my bait thread and I'll wash it thoroughly, just clean cold water, and put it in a tub, let it soak in there for 20 minutes or so, put it on a windowsill in the sun, let it dry out. Not that it makes a massive deal of difference. I mean, it still stinks to the higher heavens, but yeah, it stops it just going all funky and mouldy and stinking to the absolute high heavens. So yeah, it's a good tip. Yeah, and just keep it well sealed, and let it dry out, because if one thing is going to absolutely attract, you know, vermin or whatever, it's this. It gets used for all sorts of blood, guts and everything all on there. Now I just buy these in packs of 3. I think, not that I'm selling them, it was just online from Amazon or eBay or something. 3 packs of the Coots Moon, 1,000 metres, just a thread, standard thread. I don't use the elasticated stuff unless I'm using really big baits, like whole squid and whole mackerel and that. I use the elasticated stuff. I mean, this is nice and thin, it doesn't sort of like get in the way of the bait, it's not obtrusive, and it's cheap as anything. Yeah, good tip. Yeah, I've got everything all bagged up, it's all cleaned down. I've got my sardine and squid there, I've got some herring and squid. I had a couple left over, so I stripped them all up into little strips for tipping, and the heads for when I'm doing a 2 up 1 down rig. I've got some whole sardines there, I've just taken the head and tails off, and some sides of herring as well, which I use for tipping. And I just put them in backpack bags. I've got a little backpack machine. It's not the best one, but it does the job. It saves getting everything all out all together. And you just put the bags in under the tags, click it down, in the backpack. You've got to get it in the right place. Just keep. And seal them all. And that just keeps them nice and fresh. You can get that, get out what you need at a time. You don't have to get everything out. plastic backpack and seal. Let it suck all the air out. Seal the bag. Got some nice packs all done. Just take out what you need at a time. I'll get some black Sharpie marker on these, what they are. It just makes things quicker, cleaner, easier. You're not getting all your bait out, you're not wasting bait, keeping it nice and fresh. So yeah, some handy little tips. Hope you enjoyed it. And I'll see you out on the bank or on the beach in another video. Take care. Enjoy the bank holiday weekend.